Now and for a brand new series of techno thrillers in Futurecast. You can vote on the issues raised in the programme at the Channel 4 website. So stand by for the ultimate TV experience and a violent kidnapping. Futurecast contains some strong language.
Other times the cities would soon follow.
Next up after the weather, we have a special report from Palo Alto, California, where there's growing public concern about the potential contamination of global networks, not by hackers or even humans, but by artificial life software currently being developed at the world's largest AI software ranch. Stay with us for that special report. First, the weather.
Well, the weather today over the western seaboard of Europe only requires one word to describe it.
Thunder and lightning all over Europe. I predict thunder and lightning all over Europe, and you've just been boarded by the pirates of web TV. Welcome to Action TV, the TV station where you count, taking your views where it matters. I'm Sepp Kurtz, and this is the Sepp Kurtz Experience. As you know, Action TV covers the medical stories they don't want you to know about. We broadcast live and on direct. And as usual, that's what you're going to see today. No manipulation, no station management, no broadcaster bias. All the editing is done right here in my hand. What you see is what you get. And today we're taking over the World TV news site. Why? Because today we're going to effect an instant and effective democratization of the Euro health system. They say it can't be done, but they weren't counting on the equalizer right at the crossroads. So, check this out. The ultimate TV experience. This man is dying. So we're going to arrange for this man to Q-jump all the rich bastards. We're going to arrange for this man to live when he shouldn't live. How? Watch this space. But first, you need a little background information. We've been forced into our action because of the cost of the new gene therapies. You've all heard of them, the so-called wonder drugs that cure genetically based illnesses. And you all know the problems they brought. Their impossibly high prices put them beyond the reach of the Euro health system and spurred many of you to take to the streets in protest. Well, I used to work for a big pharmaceutical company. I specialized in cloning embryonic cells from adults. These could then be treated with genetic modifiers before being replaced in the patient. Believe me, I know what I'm talking about. In 2008, I found out that a company in Kirov was developing similar gene therapies at a fraction of the cost. They were doing it by ignoring the Western grip on patents. Of course, our drugs cartels didn't like that. They lobbied government, they blockaded supplies to the Russian health system. You may remember the Russians even claimed that they were the victims of product contamination. When I found out that was true, that the pharmaceutical cartels had stopped the Russians from supplying affordable genetic therapies, I blew the whistle and went to prison for 2 years for my trouble. Since I've been free, I've been running Action TV, taking your views to those in power. Live web TV for the people. Now, we're going to take action on your behalf. We three in this van, we're the cutting edge. How did we get together? The direct route to it came out of my regular program on the Action TV site. In power. Tonight's subject is access. Do you have access to the healthcare you need? Are you getting access to the healthcare your taxes have already paid for? One of the first callers that night seemed completely typical to begin with. Okay, we'll go direct to Louise in Sheffield, England.
Hi, hello.
Hello, Louise.
Hello. Sorry, I'm a bit nervous. This is my first time calling.
Okay, take it easy, Louise. The Sepp Kurtz Experience is new to lots of people. Just tell us what you want to talk about.
I have a problem. Well, at least my husband has a problem. Craig has leukemia, and he's going to die. sometime soon. There's only one other method of treatment.
Genetic therapy.
Exactly, that's why I'm calling in. If he received it, we'd be planning his life, not his death.
It sounds to me like there's a problem.
It costs £250,000 and is only available if you've got the cash or through private health insurance.
And don't you have £250,000, Louise?
I'm a social work lecturer and my husband is a carpenter.
We'll take that as a no. There you are, just one more example of a rigged market denying, in this case, vital health care. Thank you for bringing Craig to our viewers' attention, Louise.
Now, what I want to know is what we can do.
What can we ever do? The industry blames the usual suspects. The EU, lack of commitment to health spending. The government does the same, but they blame economics, globalization, and the power of the market. Thank you, Louise. Now,
what I want to know is what we can do. What action can we take?
Action?
Yes, well, you know, it's one thing to sit there bleating. It's quite another to get up and change things. I mean, even you at Action TV seem quite content to sit back and observe Craig's plight. Craig needs action.
Okay, what kind of action?
They should be made to treat people who need treatment. Need should be the overriding consideration. Why should my husband be disadvantaged?
My feelings exactly. That's why I'm here.
Well, there should be a way to make them do it. Action.
Well, she's right. Action we shall take. Turn left. Louise and I met in person a couple of months ago. We talked about one particular therapy that I thought might work for her husband, Craig. Of course, I can't give you its name. If the police are watching this, they will find out who we are about to meet.
Hi, Louise Richardson.
Well, have you heard of a genetic modifier called...
Yes, I know.
Then we talked about how to get the treatment. I proposed a simple plan. We persuade the boss of a very large pharmaceutical company to give Craig the therapy. And in the few days while Craig is being treated, we'll spend the time with the executive and compel him to answer for the recent actions of his industry.
Right, and I expect he's rich, too.
Oh, yes, very. He lives in a large estate near... He has guard dogs, electric fences, I'm sure you...
Right, so what am I supposed to do? Evade the dogs, throw myself at his feet and ask for help?
No, we're not going to ask him. We're going to tell him. Louise and I put a plan into action. We were depending on our principal's greed. It rarely fails. Left over the bridge. Yeah, then pull over.
Can I plug it in and have a look around? Thanks.
First, I showed Louise and Craig how we would use hidden cameras. We put one in Louise's blouse and one in my bag. I've used hidden cameras very effectively on Action TV many times.
That is incredible. And again, I got all the stuff.
I need to pick it up on the way out.
Louise and I then went to the Branson Library in Cambridge.
And you must remember to use...
Louise arranged to see a manuscript document by Sir Isaac Newton while I distracted them downstairs.
On this way, please.
The files are kept under high security. But as soon as the librarian left her alone, Louise managed to bypass the advanced surveillance system. You're here, yeah?
Yes.
Louise took a page of manuscript and hid it. So when someone goes to check, the document will appear as if it's been stolen. This document is then very attractive to a certain type of unscrupulous collector. Yesterday we finally contacted just such a man.
Hello.
Hello. Am I speaking to Jennifer Cole?
Speaking.
You left me a message. I hear you have an item for sale.
Yes, I do. I have a manuscript piece of calculus in Newton's own hand.
Can I see it?
If we meet.
How do I know you have it?
You could call the library I acquired it from and check if it's missing.
I have.
Well, then you know I have it.
Where could we meet?
Tomorrow, at 4 o'clock, Café de la Paix, Jouques. Do you know it?
Yes. Do you live near there?
Quite close. I'm renting a house nearby.
Is that him? Yeah, I think so. Okay, right on time. There you are.
Got it yet, viewer? Well, you will do in a moment. Live and on direct. Come on.
Bring it with you?
No, but it's not far. We can walk.
I hope you're not wasting my time. Why didn't you bring it?
Well, it could be a trap. It could be a policeman.
You know who I am. You contacted me. I didn't ask you to.
You agreed as a collector of Newton's work is legendary.
Well, it'd be quite so charming, isn't it?
Come on!
Quick!
Come on! Oh, okay.
Are you chipped?
Hang on.
Are you chipped?
No, I'm not chipped. I'm not chipped.
Have a watch. Okay, do you have security?
No, not with me.
Get the watch.
Come on, hurry up!
Off! All of them off!
What do you want? What do you want?
Okay, simple. You will treat my husband with genetic therapy for his disease.
What's his disease?
Clothes on. Okay, it's leukemia. He will go to hospital and you will tell your company to treat him. Quickly!
Okay, I'll do it. Okay. Okay, just like that. Yeah, okay, just like that.
Okay.
You've got guns, I'll do it. What's the trick? There's no
There
trick.
must be a trap!
No trap, I promise you there's no trap, okay? I'll arrange it.
Come on!
I'm doing it! Get the shirt on, hurry up, will you? Well, there it is.
Sit down, sit down.
I promised you a spectacular program, didn't I? Well, didn't I? Here it is, live. The temporary abduction of the senior executive officer of the CFO Pharmaceutical Corporation, enticed away from his security, I might add, by his own greed. An arrangement made to treat this man for his disease free and for gratis. And if the arrangement wasn't exactly freely made, well, what the hell?
Hands!
And in the next few days, while Craig gets treated and Mr. Singh stays with us, we'll make him answer for the conduct of his company.
That's what I call direct action. Action TV for the people. What?
Keep going! Keep going! Straight on! What's going on?
I left him at home.
You'll still treat Craig!
Still treat him. We'll still treat him.
Everyone knows your man died first. Craig did not provoke it.
So you're broadcast. Anyway, we're going to have live. Let's see this. Oh, God.
Craig, we're going too slowly. You've got to get a move on. It's okay. You're broadcast. Everyone will know.
Craig, are you all right?
Okay, look, put your arms around me.
I'm sorry.
I've got you.
I'm so sorry.
This way.
No.
It's okay. Okay. I've got you.
I didn't mean to shoot him.
Oh! Zeb! Around the back! Okay.
I'm sorry.
Sorry. It's okay.
He needs help. Now. Okay. He needs to go to a hospital. No. What's he say? He needs time. You don't have time. You're going to bleed to death. Shut the fuck up! Take us to the flat.
You're bleeding.
Where's the doctor? He can stop the bleeding. Take us to the flat.
Okay.
None of this was supposed to happen. None!
What are we doing?
Right, obviously, we need... Obviously, we need to change vehicles now, and just as obviously, I can't show you the next vehicle. Okay?
Okay.
Go, go, go.
Okay, we'll just, okay.
Don't move! No, don't move! Come on! No! Come on, come on. You'll be all right. Have you got him? You got him. I got the door. I got the door. Just stay there. All right? You got to manage. I got to... we're not really prepared for these circumstances. Yeah, Kenny. We have to go now. We'll be back on site in a few minutes. I hope in the meantime your thoughts stay with Craig and Louise. This is the Sepp Kurtz Experience for Action TV, the TV station where you count. Web TV for the people.
Oh, welcome back. Well, extraordinary scenes. We're being hacked into, but these pictures do seem to be of the abductors of Terence Singh. At least one of the kidnappers is believed to be injured.
Those extraordinary live transmissions appear to be the result of our main site being hacked into by the kidnappers. Our technical people tell us they appear to be switching servers so frequently it's impossible to trace them.
We're waiting for more on that story, but perhaps this would be an opportune moment to go to a commercial break. Welcome back. These pictures came to us a moment ago from our drone cameras in southern France. In fact, from Jouques, some 20 kilometres north of Marseille. Now, the latest we have is that the kidnapped victim is Gerald Terence Singh. He's an Englishman and the chief executive of a drugs company. It looks as though he was dragged from this cafe. The reason for the kidnapping isn't clear yet.
We have another drone camera on site which has come from our base in Marseille. It's over the point where we saw a brief gun battle take place just a few minutes ago. That must be Terence Singh's bodyguard who was gunned down. We've been told that the bodyguard has been confirmed dead at the scene. Beyond is the road on which the kidnappers must have made their escape. That does seem to be the end of the trail, for the moment at least.
For those of you watching before the break,
Hold on.
Okay, I got him, I got him.
Okay. Yeah. Easy. Hold on. I've got it. Hold on.
Head down.
What are you doing?
He needs a doctor.
You're a doctor!
In our hospital. He needs to go to hospital now.
I'm going.
Okay. It's okay. I'll take you.
Right. You what? If you do, then I'll arrest you. I get some bandages.
I get some dressings!
Yeah, I'm coming.
Look, I can't stay here. You'll die.
I'm going to die anyway. So just pack
You will, you know. If they don't take you, you will.
Shut up!
Are you being fair to her?
Shut it up, boss! Shut it up!
All right.
Right! Okay, it's okay. I've got it. That's it.
Show the film. Show the bloody film. Yeah.
Okay.
And he's talking about the video diary he made to cover his illness. We'll show these films.
Hopefully, if you're seeing this, then I'm in hospital getting treated. I wanted to give you some idea of what Louise and I have gone through, so you'll understand why we decided to do what we've done.
Our new home.
Yes.
Louise has been the most wonderful thing that ever happened to me. But I want you to know that we were living a completely normal life.
This is the first home that we bought.
That is, until a couple of years ago, when I got told I had leukemia. After 2 bouts of conventional chemotherapy had failed, our specialist finally told us about a genetic therapy.
And it works?
Yes.
So what's the catch?
It's not available on the EHS.
Why?
It costs about £250,000.
How much?
£250,000 quid, I'm stuffed. That's that.
No, it's not. We'll sell the house.
Oh, right, yeah, and then we'll be living in a tent with 240,000 quid still left to find.
You don't have any family money?
No.
There is a scheme. It offers a chance.
Go on.
The manufacturers of this therapy are aware that this drug's not available to people like you. They hand out a few free treatments every month, pro bono publica. You could try for one of those.
How do we do that?
Through me. It's a sort of informal lottery.
Hold on.
Our GP entered my name in the lottery, and after 3 months waiting,
It is from them.
we finally got a reply.
Dear Mr. Richardson, we regret to inform you that you've been... Apparently I'm not a lottery winner. No.
I'm sorry.
It's all right, it's not your fault.
Can you do something about that, please?
He's dying. Get an ambulance. Get an ambulance now. Do you understand me?
Don't.
He's getting weaker. He's
Will
dying.
you still treat him?
That's not the point. Get an ambulance.
You will still treat him?
Can't treat him now. He's too weak.
No, but he'll get better.
It's too dangerous and it will take months before he gets better. Get an ambulance now.
Well, then you have to stay with us for months, and then you'll treat him.
Yes, okay.
No, not yes, okay. I'm telling you, you will treat him.
Okay, so you're telling me I will treat him, but if you don't get an ambulance now, he's going to die this afternoon. Get an ambulance now.
You need to stay.
You don't have time.
Please shut up.
Get an ambulance now.
He's right. Get out. Louise, we've got to go. Come on. We've got to go. This is the Web TV Pirates Action TV signing off for now. Don't go away, we'll be back in a couple of minutes. Don't forget, we're the TV station. Well, you can't. You can't. Okay.
Okay, right, remember we're watching live pictures from the kidnapping of Terence Singh. Now, we have no control over these so-called pirate pictures, but they certainly do seem to be authentic. We will keep bringing you these live kidnap pictures as and when they're available.
Now, the kidnapped victim, Terence Singh, has a reputation as one of the most influential leaders in the pharmaceutical industry.
For 30 years, this industry has been pouring money into a line of research which we hoped would one day lead to a revolution in drug therapies.
Singh rose rapidly, taking the fortunes of the CFO Corporation with him by pioneering two developments, first in genetic screening and then in genetic therapies.
We have protected your investment.
He is known to have been fiercely protective of the company's market position. In 2007, rumours of his resignation led to a brief freefall in the company's share price. But his tough opposition to foreign drugs manufacturers led to a re-establishment of CFO's dominance.
You suffer from
We'll be assessing the possible implications of this dramatic kidnap.
Parkinson's disease.
But for now, some other headlines.
No, we're not going to any other news. This is from our drone camera, and we're picking up pictures of a police convoy.
I'm told we can now actually tap into the police intercom cameras. As you can see, these are French CRN riot police going in. Heavily armed, the kidnappers themselves apparently tipped off the emergency services about the location of their flat in this huge block. And we believe that they've particularly requested a paramedic unit. Now, we're going to stay with the police for the moment. You can see the CRN going straight into the lobby. And clearly, there's a large area that they're going to need to seal off. Now, we have another drone camera high up with another CRN unit taking positions on the roof. CRN well practiced in these situations. After the shooting we witnessed a few minutes ago, they're obviously reluctant to take any chances or make any move which could endanger the life of the hostage, Terence Singh. We understand from their radio traffic that they've closed the building at all points. Just to remind you, these pictures are coming to us live. Now, this looks like the police are actually on the balcony outside the siege flat. Our camera obviously being warned off. As I say, the police very cautious, perhaps worried about a booby trap device or something similar. But
we told them there was no booby trap. Why are they taking so long?
What's going on?
They think there's a bomb. There's no bomb. There's no threat. Just go in. They're scared. They're sending in a robot first. There's nothing to be scared of!
Chargé.
Chargé.
1, 2, 3.
Louise? Louise, stop the van.
Chargé.
1, 2, 3.
Toujours rien. Rien.
Chargé.
Chargé.
1, 2, 3.
Toujours rien.
C'est fini.
Oh,
I'm sorry, Louise.
We're hoping to get a word with the police now. No, I'm sorry. We have instead a link to Robert Miles, who is a spokesman for CFO Pharmaceutical Corps. That's the company that Terence Singh heads up. Robert,
the kidnappers claimed that they wanted treatment for one of their number.
That's as maybe. We're a pharmaceutical company, not their local health service, so we're the wrong people to issue that demand to.
Your company won't negotiate with them?
We're willing to look at any way out of this situation. Terence is an important medical researcher and a humane man who gives generously, personally, to medical charities. If these people want something from him, they've chosen a terrible way of asking.
We'll have to leave it there for the moment, Robert. Please stay with us, because I understand that we're receiving more live pictures from Marseille now. Now, we're being told that the van in which Terence Singh was kidnapped has been trapped by police near the docks. Now, we can just detect some microwave transmissions coming from the van, so it looks like it's still active.
We believe that the van is hidden in this container area. That looks like the CRN again. I believe that we can rejoin the police cameras. There's the van. We're not able to see very clearly inside. I must say...
That's the right van, but we're not in it. Well, a solemn moment for us. Today we have gone beyond covering the medical stories they don't want you to know about. Today, we are the story. Louise? Okay, I'll tell you. We took direct action to try to stop Louise's husband from dying. It went wrong. Now, we're on a path that none of us would have chosen. Still, we are on it. The issue here is much bigger than just us. The issue is whether people are entitled to have access to the drugs that modern science develops. When it's a question of health, surely need should be balanced against profit. No one is saying that companies shouldn't make a profit. And no one is denying that capitalism must be at the heart of the system. But what kind of capitalism does this man practice? He is no free marketeer. He personally lobbied against several Russian therapies which might have rivaled his own companies. He's a protectionist, defending his monopoly at the cost of our lives. And he lives in some style because of it. When he's not at his house in London, he's relaxing at his mansion in Virginia Water. And whenever he can, Terence Singh withdraws to his estate in Provence. Louise.
What am I supposed to say?
Is anything he's shown untrue?
Part of the truth isn't the truth.
Don't bandy words with us. Do you or do you not charge £250,000 per treatment?
My company does.
Do you or do you not own the houses we just showed?
Simply get the going rate for the job. It's about running a multinational corporation. Get paid for responsibility.
Well, Craig is dead. And I'm holding you responsible. What was our chance of winning the lottery for the drug?
I don't know, I don't have the figures.
What, 1 in 10, 1,000, 1 in a million?
Maybe 1 in
Pick a
1,000,
figure.
I don't know.
So we go on this bizarre charade on a 1 in 1,000 chance that you will give my husband the treatment he needed to live.
It isn't a charade. We couldn't give the drug away, we'd be broke and weak.
No, it's a sop.
It's a chance.
I think you'll like this. Since you're such a devotee of games of chance, I think we should give you the chance to argue for your life. Just like we had to do for Craig, and just like Craig, you may or may not succeed. We can do that, can't we?
Yeah, I suppose so, yes.
And we have the evidence. You use a hit counter on your show, don't you?
Yeah, sometimes we do.
Okay. Terence Singh, the people accuse you of avarice, of cruelty, of inhumanity to your fellow man, of grand-scale larceny. How do you plead?
I don't plead. This is a van, not a courtroom. And I haven't committed any crime.
We, the people, will decide that. But not right now. Someone has snobbed onto us. We're going to have to stop broadcasting. This is the Seb Kurtz Experience signing off for now. But we'll be back here on this site in just a minute. So keep your finger off that channel flipper now. Viewer, this is your chance to take direct action one step further. On your screen now, there should be 2 graphic buttons, one red, one green. See below them there are 2 columns which can rise and lower. The buttons represent 2 different websites. If more people point their agent at one or other site, the columns should go up and down. Try it now. Yeah, people are voting now. These columns will give us a verdict. Green is not guilty, red is guilty.
Of what?
Crimes against humanity. In a very literal sense, you see, it is against humanity to be able to cure somebody and refuse to do so.
We couldn't charge for therapies, we wouldn't be able to offer.
You will have your chance. Don't forget, green is not guilty, red is guilty.
Green is live, red is die.
First of all, let's have a look at some of the evidence for the prosecution. We made these films before. Maybe when we made them we didn't think we were playing for such high stakes, but that's just the way it is now. 10 years ago, a wave of researchers linked to Western pharmaceutical companies came to hundreds of villages like this one, and in the name of healthcare, took blood samples from every man, woman and child. The researchers claimed that this was done with the people's informed consent.
¿Y qué han dicho los médicos cuando llegaron aquí? ¿Cuál dicen es el motivo de la visita?
The blood samples went back to Europe and North America, Many were found to have qualities which could be exploited as drug therapies. Over the years, hundreds of lucrative patents have been taken out for treatments developed from the samples. Despite protests, you can still buy blood products on the net through companies like this one, Abtocell. But have the rightful owners of the blood benefited from these sales and all the patents?
La gente y es decir, las personas o las entidades o las instituciones que han programado esto a nivel mundial ha sido, una vez más, otra forma de conquista, de colonizaje a los territorios indígenas y a las personas que lo habitamos. Consideramos que no tenemos obligación de contribuirle a la humanidad y mucho menos a la gente que lo ha dañado nuestros propios recursos y nuestras propias formas de ser y de pensar.
Well?
Well, what?
It doesn't ring any bells.
No.
Don't you want to respond?
To what? I don't work for that company.
Look, the buttons are there. The vote will count. Already more than 10,000 people have voted you should die.
They're probably trying to find their sports channel or something.
This is no joking matter. Millions of people watch these broadcasts.
They're waiting for their nurses to switch over.
We are the ones with the guns.
What are you going to do? Shoot me because I was rude to you on air? That doesn't look very good in your terrorist CV, is it?
We are not terrorists.
That's what it says on telly.
Oh, so it must be true.
You kidnapped me. You shot my security guard.
He shot first.
You bloody terrorists.
Well, then you better watch out.
What about the film?
Bugger the film.
Do you wish to respond?
You'd better. Look. Lots of people are pressing the red button. I don't think they liked your outburst. I don't think they liked you talking down to them. They think you're just an arrogant man who doesn't give a damn whether they live or die. Unless, of course, they happen to be rich.
It's not a question of rich or poor, it's a question of economics.
Look, that's the same thing.
No, it's not. Gene-based therapies cost billions of euros to develop. The costs have to be recouped. The investment has to be protected somehow. Now, the way this society has chosen to protect its inventions and discoveries is via the use of patents. No patents, no research. No research, no cures. No cures for leukemia, diabetes, cystic fibrosis.
What about the people in that film whose genetic coding was stolen by these American companies?
What about them? What's your point?
You know perfectly well what the point is. How do they profit?
A pharmacist finds the basic ingredients for aspirin in the wormwood plant. Does that mean he owes a debt to every wormwood plant he passes?
Yeah, but we're not talking about plants, are we? We're talking about people.
Wrong. We're talking scientific observation, scientific application. Where in the world a scientist finds a thing is not important. That they have found an application for the thing observed bestows a right on the scientist.
But not the right to prevent others from doing research and developing cheaper treatments. You use your patents to kill the competition. This is anti-research.
Wrong again. It increases research. It discourages two groups from working on the same thing. It encourages risk because people know no one's going to just come in and take their patents from under their noses.
Let's move on to the next bit of evidence for the prosecution.
It's too hot to sit in vans watching home videos.
Well, it's just about to get hotter. Show the film.
In the last decade, the rise of giant worldwide companies like CFO has brought promises and pitfalls. The companies claim that their global size enables them to offer us better choices for goods and services. But the truth is, they become so large that they can no longer be controlled by our national governments.
Global deregulation has taken us into an era of free-for-all economics in which societies will be poorer and corporations will expect to become massively richer. And the nature of democracy itself is going to be put under threat.
The much heralded rise of globalization was supposed to have brought prosperity to us all. Instead, it has left us powerless to stop companies putting profit before people. So, is there anything we can do to prevent this?
It is our failure as societies to hold corporations to account that is the fundamental weakness and undermining of our prospects for sensible life in the 21st century. And individuals in corporations have to be held accountable for their parts in that process.
Well, what am I supposed to say? He's a politician.
Respond or not, it's your choice.
That's a fool's fork. I either respond to his argument, implicitly accepting the view that somehow I'm personally responsible for globalization, or refuse to answer, implying that I'm guilty anyway.
Do you wish to respond?
My wrists hurt. I've got no feeling in them.
Do you wish to respond?
That man thinks the pressure for the fully globalized economy will just go away. He's kidding himself.
He doesn't think so.
Pressure doesn't come from companies. It comes from people. Pressure to globalization exists because the technology for it exists.
We want fairness and justice. Access for all. You actively prevented that access.
We're not responsible for globalization. We just make drugs.
We just make drugs. One of the most powerful men in the modern drugs industry, and he refuses to take any responsibility for their moral practice. We just make drugs. The next evidence for the prosecution.
Advances in genetic screening have brought benefits to some, but for many others they have led to discrimination, which is eroding our very rights as human beings.
The point about genetic developments is that they start off sounding sensible, but rapidly escalate into a scenario you hadn't predicted. So, for example, reducing the incidence of really serious disease seems sensible. Then you get to situations like myself or other people who aren't really very impaired, but are just different. Many people would say it's sensible to reduce the incidence of situations like this, which I wouldn't really agree with. But then you move on to something like intelligence or character traits. Then you really start altering what it is to be human and taking away the randomness of it and planning exactly what sort of person you want to have. And that's where it gets frightening.
From next year.
Full-scale genetic screening for every abnormality was with us by 2004. Great things were promised.
We can now predict which ailments both the born and the unborn child are likely to develop. For me, having headed up this project, it's very exciting. CFO will now screen the nation's children.
But the fallout from the screening was immediate. Genetic discrimination occurred at work, in personal insurance and in health schemes. Despite a test case being taken to the European Court in 2006, the discrimination did not stop.
My daughter has been refused health insurance. And if we tried to get her life insurance, oh, she'd be refused that too. And apparently there's nothing we can do about it.
Why was she refused?
Because according to her genetic profile, she is at risk of contracting bowel cancer. She doesn't have cancer.
But many people aren't just being excluded from health schemes. They're being excluded from life.
What's happening at the moment, what will increasingly happen in future, is genetic cleansing. We don't like what happens in Bosnia, we don't like what happened in the Second World War. We don't like the idea that people will reduce the human population and eliminate vast chunks of it because they're in the wrong place or they have the wrong characteristics. But this is exactly what we're doing at the moment and will increasingly do.
Any reply?
No.
Are you sure?
Only that you need to make up your mind. What am I? The monster that makes the drugs that you all want but you can't afford, or the monster that designs out your handicapped friends? Can't be the same. You either want what I bring or you don't. Make up your mind.
No, the viewers will. We rest our case. Do you want to sum up for the defence? Sir?
We have proved that Terence Singh is one of the most arrogant representatives of the inhumane culture the modern pharmaceutical industry has become. We have demonstrated without a doubt how he has exploited you in a cruel way for his own profit. So now you choose. Does he live or does he die? point your agent at one of the websites. Green and Singh lives, red, Singh dies. Your vote counts. Bad news for you. 75% have voted in favor of your execution, Terence. You've learned a hard lesson today. You can't fool all of the people all of the time. You can't buck the market, as I believe you people say. Where do you want it?
1 million sterling.
I'm sorry?
Each. 1 million sterling each. Just drop me and drive away.
You can give away £1 million like that.
My company can.
If we shoot him, it would knock a fortune off your company's market valuation, wouldn't it? It'd be quite worth their while to give us a couple of million quid and just let this whole debacle go away. True? Of course it is. Here's your choice. Do you want it in the face, in the heart, or in the back of the head?
2
Stop
million
it.
sterling.
Stop it! I've had enough! He's not going to kill you. He's just scaring you.
Didn't think you'd do it.
Really? Why is that?
If I'm inhumane, how would another inhumanity cancel it out?
Get out.
Right. Well, we've apparently just seen the dramatic release of Terence Singh. Now, these are recordings from our monitoring of the police. We understand they're closing in on the location of the van. I believe we're getting more from one of our drone cameras. Now, these are live pictures from the coast road above Marseille. If I could just get Robert Miles in again from CFO. Robert, what are we seeing?
That's him. That's Terence Singh.
And it certainly looks as if he's free.
I hope so. He certainly seems unharmed, and it appears that he's free.
We understand from the police radio that a car is on its way to him already. Now we're behind the kidnapper's van. I'm told we can apparently now get control of their media system.
Stop it!
We'll stay right with the kidnapper's van if we can. Although I'm told we have another link with the police. Yes, the roadblock we saw earlier in place there. This must be the end coming now. Let's hope it's not too violent. Just to remind you, these are live pictures. As you can see, that's the male kidnapper being dragged out and forced to the ground. Now the CRN moving around the back of the van, going after the woman. Right, they're disarming her. If I could just get Robert Miles back in. Robert, any comment?
These people are common criminals. We at CFO Pharmaceutical Corps are always willing to discuss individual patients' personal needs, but we're not the kind of people to buckle under personal threat.
So the kidnapper's being led away. We'll stay right with this story and have some more interviews in just a moment. For now, let's get the rest of the news on our regular menu. There's plenty more still to come on World News, so don't go away.
In Cuba, a fire at the giant new Havana Vista resort has left several hotels badly damaged.
Well, if that's left you with questions you're dying to ask, the director of tonight's Futurecast will be available to answer your questions live online in a couple of minutes at chat.channel4.com. Step into another realm of the techno years in Futurecast this Sunday. That's Easter Day at 9 here on 4.